I'm kidding. Forgive me. There's noise. My wife's name is Francis.
Okay. I knew his wife,
Or Fran.
and she was in high school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fine.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam be'pri Adam.
Amen.
Where's Avi?
In the kitchen.
In the kitchen. Avi, come to the Chaim.
He is good. He knows how to prepare because even the head,
Mhm.
you know, it's to see he knows what he's doing. And
Nicht gehen, der kam, das ist heimlich, doch. Avi. עשית את זה?
I was in contact with your cousin. Also? Oh, yeah. So I asked him, is Rabbi making a Farbrengen? He said, no. I said, how about tuning into your cousin, Rabbi Morozov?
So
He said, absolutely. I said, would you like the Zoom link? He said, absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I
I
mean, I don't know if he's going to be on or not, but he definitely has the Zoom link.
Okay, thank you so much. So now it'll be yours, Chus.
have the million by next door.
Where? Oberstam, it was fine.
They're doing their managing every.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's great because they have a late minute. I wanted to go to Rabbi Fishman, but I was, he didn't have a million?
No? That's a person, the other one is having.
No, he doesn't have a problem.
I'm only getting a million.
Okay, open up the Pirkei Avos, so make a seam of Pirkei Avos.
Oh,
Which bear?
Pedig Vav is really a Braisa, Kinyan Torah. We'll be Masayim. It's a special, tonight it's called Beis, Shevat. And it happens to be by Shkochel Yoina that Avi Carey's mother, the siyum of saying Kaddish for his mother is Chof Shevat. Chof Shevat, Mincha Chof Shevat, the last Kaddish Avi is saying is honor of his mother. Therefore, Avi, this herring you can't get anywhere.
I know this is from wrestling or where?
This herring is from Avi, custom made, Avi, homemade.
Ali, for $50 a pound, will you spare a few pounds?
Rabbi
Eric Shishi. He's gonna think about it.
Eric Shishi?
Pedig Chamish,
Amishi, okay.
Where's the money?
Pedig Chamish,
It's also on the sitter.
Pedig Chamish.
No, better than you.
Now listen,
Many years ago,
Yeah.
the Rebbe, I don't know if Shvat did the siyum on Masechet's office, and I'm gonna just a few nekudas that was said over Farbrengen Yud Shvat, and then Motzei Shabbos Yud Gimel Shvat and Tu B'Shvat.
Thank you.
And I mean, obviously, it's a shaykhis to this week's parsha. Moshe Kibbutz Torah Mesin is Parshas Yisrei, and Avi is learning Pirkei Avos in honor of his mother. If he didn't learn it yet, he'll learn it tonight, tomorrow. And we'll be Messiah Pirkei Yovis, which is a special shaykhs to tonight. Okay, let's read up quickly over here. One mission before the land. Ben Bagbag Oimer. Haforba v'haforba de kula ba. Uvo sechze v'siva v'loiv vo umenolo sazua she'en lecha mida toiv amen. When Bagbag said that in Torah, if you look once and you learn it again and again, don't stop. Don't stop. You're always going to find something new when you learn in Torah.
They have a song.
Yeah, it's a nice song. Who made that song?
Oh, here.
Coach Wacky? Very nice song.
Right here, yeah.
Ben hey Omer, Ben hey Omer, lefum tzara agra.
Yeah. Yeah, right here is one.
Ben hey said that based on the tsar, how much tsar, that the schar is lefia tsar. Okay, schar is lefia tsar.
Bring on the Tsar.
So actually, in the regular Mishnayos, this is where the Mishnah finishes. The Lefum tzara agra. The Rebbe's father in the Sefer Shara Koilel writes that that what happened in the Pirkei Avos, when we say it in Shabbos, we anyway say that it's a nice thing. Whenever we finish, there's like a certain haftorah which doesn't finish something nice, like Echa or a certain haftorah. We always say an extra pasuk to say we always have to be Messiah b'davar toiv. Always have to be Messiah b'davar toiv. Now the Mishnah finishes Ki'ilu meis v'avar ubatal min ha'olam. Ki'ilu meis. Oi! It's not good mace. Should be tchisa mason. You want to live. So that's not a dover toiv. Ki'ilu meis. Over a bottle. Who wants to? You want to be an over bottle? Who wants to be an over bottle? No one wants to be an over bottle. We should be healthy and our mind should be strong until 120 and beyond. Who wants to be an over bottle? So over a bottle min ha'olam. It's not a dover toiv. So Meila Shabbos. When we finish it, so we finishing with David Toiv. We're already finishing with David Toiv. So we leave the Mishnah the way it is. But in the Mishnayos that it's printed in the Mishnah, so therefore the Mishnah Hu Yoima goes earlier, and the Mishnah finishes Lefum Tzara Agra. We want to finish with something nice. The Rebbe says. And these are his words. The Rebbe said that even though I'm mechuyev bekovet zikne, the kovet of my zayd, at least the Rabbanon, but it's nicht azoi mashma this way. If you look in the Kapach Rambam, the Mishnayos, he doesn't have he finishes the Mishnah. He doesn't have the Mishnah over the bottle and oil altogether. He's not good as the Mishnah, and he still finishes Lefum Tzara Agra. It's mashma that's taka the siyum of the Mishnah. So why would you finish the Mishnah Lefum Tzara Pirkei Avos? Why would it be Messiah with such a thing Lefum Tzara Agra? Okay, you would think a person is an extra chassid, so he is not looking for schar. And now we're telling me Lefum Tzara Agra. Don't worry if you worked extra hard to be Jewish. The schar lefi atzar. But if we're talking about a chassid, he's probably not worried about the schar anyway.
Talks to everyone, not just the chassid.
It's miltza the chassidusa. That's what the Gemara calls it, miltza the chassidusa. And then, b'chlal, we have to understand why they called Ben Bagbag. It's a very funny name, Ben Bagbag and Ben Hey. I mean, certain nationalities, they like. Last time, my wife said she was with the baby somewhere in a doctor's office. So, Agrina Weibel of gefragt, I'm being politically correct. So Agrina Weibel had gefragt, what's the baby's name? Cherna. Ooh, Cherna, I like that name very good. They like funny names. So what is the funny name? Is it Ben Bagbag, Ben Hey? And in the Rambam, by the way, Ben Hey is one word. There's no space between the hey and the hey. What's the pshat? So the Medrash Shmuel, which was a Talmud that Israel said that they wore Gadim or Bnei Gadim, and he brings a pshat from He brings up shot from many Gedolei Yisrael, including from he brings up shot from Rabbi Yosef ibn Nachmias that said so like this, that there are a lot of Mefarshim say that why would the name Hey because Avram Avinu, his name was Avram, and now he became Av HaMoin Goyim, and now the Eibishter added a Hey. Sora also, she was not having a Hey in her name. The Eibishter added a Hey in her name. All the Gedim are called Bnei Avram. We're called Avram Yitzchak V'Yaakov, and the Gedim are called Bnei Avram V'Sora. So a Ged you called Ben Avram Avinu, and Basori Imeinu. This person is a Ged. The Gedim are almost Yachas Avram Avinu and Sora Imeinu. So therefore, Ben Hey, he was a Ged. So the Hey of Sora and the Hey of Avram Avinu.
Rabbi, I just realized Bag is also equals hay.
Oh, so the Mefarshim say Bag his friend Bag couldn't have the same name, because then you would have to say hey, I mean you. How would you know the difference between the one and the other? So they changed his name. Yeah. So they exactly what was hey, one is hey you. So they changed his name to Bag because Beis Gimel is also hey.
So it could have been Gav.
It could have It could have been Gav. So why is it Bag? So the Rebbe brings from the Medrash Shmuel, again from the Rizal's Talmud, that Bag is Mugematria, is Ben Gade and Ben Giyoris. And the Rebbe says you could, Beroshet Tevot. And you could say that the Pshat is that Ben Hey, he himself was a Gade. So therefore, his father was Avram and his mother was Sarah, because a Ger is caught in Shanel Damit. But Ben Hey, his father was a Ger and his mother was a Ger. He himself was not a Ger. Therefore, he was called Ben Bag. And the Rambam has it as a Ger says one word. You could say that the question is, were they Megayah in the same generation or a different generation? So the Rambam holds they were Megayah in the same generation. Therefore, it puts it in one word. The father and the mother were both Gedim. Mashenkein, the Girsa that we have, called like the Rishon, the whole that the mother was a Yiddish and the father was Jewish, but the father's father, so therefore it was different generations, so therefore it's a different one. But the bottom line is, why is it important? They had names. By the way, Ben Bagbad's real name was Rabbi Yochanan. Mefarshim say they didn't want to tell his name because they were scared from the government. In the time of the Tanoim, we don't know that there should be such a. And Bechlal, the Gemara does tell us the name. So if they were scared, why didn't they hide the name? They didn't hide the name. It's mashma that over here it's Negeya that they were Gated. It has something to do. The truth is, even before you learn deep shot, today is Parshas Yisro. The Yidden by Matan Torah were Gated. Yisro was a Gate. He was a Gate. Yisro was a Gate, and all the Yidden were Megayah. They all went to the mikveh and they were Gated. So therefore, it makes sense to assign the Pirkei Avos. But the Rebbe has an unbelievable pshat over here. And going back to the question, why are we talking so much about Agra, about Schar? What does it mean, Lefum Tzayda Agra? Well, usually, the Schar is how much you work. You work 8 hours, you get $50 an hour, you get paid $100 an hour. Bobby, what are you getting, $300 an hour? So, Tagid Amen. But the schar is based on what you do. The schar is not on the tzar. Even though Apidin we say that right? So sometimes a job is harder to do. Sometimes a job is harder to do. So you have to pay more because it's a harder job. There's more amal. But over here, it sounds like that the schar is not based b'klal. Excellent. So that sounds like the schar is not to do. Here we'll pay Keyovis, pay the K. The last two Mishnahs. And take a little l'chaim, so you'll get into it. L'chaim, l'chaim. L'chaim v'livrocha.
Amen.
So here is this thing. Why would a Yid get schar for what he's doing? So the thing is like this. It depends how you're looking at the mitzvah. In the Torah, there's two parts: mitzvah the Eibishter and mitzvah the Yid. Do we say that the Torah, it doesn't matter even if a person didn't go to a mikveh? The Torah can never be tummy. The Torah is always pure. On the other hand, we say that the Torah, a Rav shemochel al kvoide mochel, because it became his Torah. There is the way Torah. There's Moshe Kibel Torah. Why doesn't it say Kodesh Baruch Hu Nosan Torah LeMoshe? There's two things: the way that the Eivishter gives the Torah, and the way you get the Torah. There is, for example, certain mitzvahs, 3 mitzvahs, that person has to be Yehoreg V'alav Shaddai and Kiddush Hashem. Other mitzvahs, we say no. That Sheyichye Behem V'Sheloi Sheyomus Behem. Yid is to live with them. So there is certain mitzvahs where we see more mitzvah the Noisen HaTorah, and there are certain mitzvahs where we see the Makabel HaTorah. Sometimes we see the Noisen, sometimes, and here in Pirkei Avos, we're talking about Moshe Kibel Torah. Why Kibel Torah? Because we're talking about Miltza the Chasedusa, doing extra. Mitzad the Eibishter, whatever a person does, there's no extra. What is extra? The Eibishter recreates the world. B'chol rega v'rega. What are you doing extra? What are you doing extra? The koyach you have now to do is from the Eibishter right now. What are you doing extra? So, but where is nicker that a person is doing extra? Was taka when he's doing Miltza the Chasedusa. The Eibishter didn't tell him he has to do it.
Isn't that the same?
The Eibishter didn't tell him to do it. What's Milchas Chadusa? The Eibishter didn't tell him to do it. The Eibishter didn't tell him to do it, and he's doing it anyway. He's doing it for Mishusadim. So that's why in Milchas the Chasedusa is Nicker, not Mitzad the Noisa, Mitzad the Makabel. Furthermore, when we say that the Yid gets schar for the mitzvahs, it's not so much Mitzad the Eibishter, Mitzad the Noisa. We have to do the mitzvahs anyway. Where is it the schar? Mitzad us. We feel that we need to get schar. We need to get paid. And most people, you need to give them schar. You give tzedakah. You'll become rich. You'll give tzedakah. You'll see. Test me, the Eibishter said. But the most people have to work. But that's not mitzad the noisa, mitzad the makabel. So the Rebbe says that we have an interesting story. The Gemara says that the Rabbi Bar Bachona, he had workers, and they were taking barrels of wine, and they were negligent, and they all busted. So he had such a hezek. They all his wine was now
Down the drain.
Kipshute. So he was very angry at them, and they had their jackets hanging. He took their jackets away. So they went screaming to the Torah to Rav. They said, he stole my jacket. So Rav said to Rabbi Chama, you took the jacket? It's in Daf Pegim on Bamatzia. He said, yeah, I took the jacket. But they owe me more money than I owe them. You know what they did? They was a pshia. So the worker said, but Nebuch, we're poor people. What do you want from us? We're poor people.
It was probably freezing.
And it was cold, and they needed their jackets. They said, Nebuch, they said, we're cold. So Rav said, it says in the Pasuk, Laman Teilach B'derech Toivim, give them back their jackets. So the people saw it's going good, so they said, Rebbe, we're also very hungry. So he said to Rabbi Bachana, pay them their salary. He said, why? They made the big hezek for me. It was a pshia. He said, the pasuk says, "V'orchet tzadikim tishma," that you have to be a tzaddik. So he paid them also. So where do we see taka that the Eibishter does such a thing? So the Rebbe says we see it in Pirkei Avos that there is sometimes a person does mitzvahs and he succumbed them, but sometimes we put in a lot of effort and we have a big nesoyin but we put in a lot of effort. We tried really hard. We tried really hard.
That's good. That's basically giving a motive to a guy who doesn't give it, not to give it about someone else.
He's doing, but
No, I'm talking about the situation.
He was Pesheya. He tried.
talk about reality. We have people that constantly go over the halacha by not caring about the other person's belongings or
Chas v'shalom.
property.
They're talking about a person doing the right thing. Elamai, it happened. It happened.
I had another now. We put down the floor and ripped off the floor from the tape, and then we ruined the floor. We did the right thing. We put on the floor, but we chayav now.
Now, don't tell the workers about this Gemara. The workers will go and say that even. So, but we see that the Eibishter is that way. That even if a Yid Nebuch didn't do his avodas Hashem, so ayayay. So just like the Gemara says, that here is a chidush dava, that you're not getting paid for what you did. Usually you get paid for what you did. Here, lefum tzayda agra, it's a chidush. Lefum tzayda agra. Where do we see the most lefum tzayda agra? By Gadim. Because usually Yidden are mechuyev to do mitzvahs. The truth is, even if you have a big nisayon, it's very hard. There's a certain, every person has certain avedas that are very hard. That Yitzhahar is working overtime for this. The Gemara says, "Godel mitzvah v'oisa." Why is mitzvah? Because when you have a mitzvah, the Tosfos says that the Yitzhahar is working overtime against you. If you're not obligated to do the mitzvah, it don't bother you. It won't bother you. But now that he knows that you're obligated to do this mitzvah, the guy is working overtime to get you. So what happens? The Geir, he could do whatever he wants. There's no morality. There's 7 basic mitzvahs, whatever. He can't marry his mother. Is that difficult not to marry a mother? Who wants to marry his mother? Nobody. Apart from Dreita mentioned in the Welt. Who wants to marry his mother? So the guy, for him to be a good man is very easy. It's very easy. Yid, and now he became a Yid. There's a lot of tzad. It's not easy to be a religious Jew and to keep 613 mitzvahs.
You can't do this.
You can't do this. You can't do this. You have to do this. Everything is expensive when you're Jewish. So it's a lot of tzad. So lefum tzayda agra. Not only the agra, the Eibishter pays. Not only the Eibishter pays for what you do when you need to do it, but also, like we see by the gate, he didn't need. Who asked him? He was obligated to be Megayer. He's not obligated. We know Beruchni is Geshen is Gayer Yanish. But the Pashtus, when he come to Bezin, you're supposed to tell him, "What are you coming? What do you need?" You're supposed to tell him, "Listen, you're a good guy. You have 7 mitzvahs. Life is good. Go to work. Drink a bottle of beer at the end of the week. Make a barbecue. What do you need this whole trouble for?" If he wants, you have to be Makadev. So then, for the gate, it's a lot of tzad. Who asked him? He was not mechuyev to do it. So therefore, he gets a special schar. That's why you find in the pasuk about the Rus that there was a special schar. That the pasuk said you're going to get a special schar. The pasuk says because you came tachas kampa shchina. Yishalom Hashem polach meis Hashem amar rabchosa asher bos lachs tafas knofa. So everyone asked him, that's what the pasuk says. Shalom Hashem Pa'alach, and the end of the pasuk Asher Bolachs Tachas Kanafa. So the Rebbe explains that the Medrash means not only for keeping the mitzvahs, just the actual thing that you became a Geir. A person is not religious; they decide to become religious. Very hard. It's very hard. A person is a Geir; they were not keeping any mitzvahs, and now they become Jewish. It's very hard. It's a lot of tzad. There's a lot of tzad. So askar lefi tzad, not just for the work. Here you get in Milza the Chasidusa, just like these guys. They broke their barrels, but they had tzar. They worked for you. Midas Chassidus, you have to pay them. The Geir, he was Megayer. The Eibishter gives him special schar for the tzar. Also, a regular Jew, sometimes when you do an extra hiddur mitzvah, well, you're not obligated to do, so the Eibishter gives you special schar for the tzar. Special schar for the tzar. There's a special thing. The truth is always it's that way. Or we get extra schar for the tzar. But regular mitzvahs we do, listen, the Yitzhahar is very strong, and that's part of the plan. If everything is easy, then the game is not a game. Every person has a certain Yitzhahar that this thing is going to be tough. The Yitzhahar is going to come back and back and back and back from this side and that side. So really it's your obligation. But for it's difficult. So the Eibishter gives a special schar for the tzar. Lefum tzad, and we learn it from the Geir. We learn it because the Geir, he didn't need to do it. Who asked him? And he took it upon himself. And he gets a special schar. And from here we learn that also every Jew, when you put in the extra effort, this tzar, besides the schar that you get for Torah mitzvahs, you get schar from the tzar. It's unbelievable.
We should say, Moshe lo asani goy, asani goy. By the way, is that true that an Evet Ivri that was having children from Evet Knani, and the children has a ability to become Jewish once they're released from
When they're released, right? It doesn't have to release them.
But
They
again,
can keep him a
right,
slave
I'm
forever.
saying is, but how is it a Jew if she's not the wife, the woman is not a Jew?
Because the mother, when you buy a shifcha knana, she has to be toivel, and the tefillah and the tefillah is contingent that the day she becomes
She's
free,
buying them off, and
you have to dunk them with your hands in the mikveh.
the man or the woman was doing. I mean, obviously the wives are doing.
Probably b'tznius. I mean, if they bought slaves, the missus is toivel the shivchis, and the person is toivel is avodim. I would assume.
What's the?
Yeah, but b'tznius.
No problem.
So what's like?
We do it very b'tznius, but still.
But it's that this whole halacha thing is for real.
For real.
It's part of the Gerah.
Yes, 100%.
Today, when like Gio became Gio, right, and go to mikveh, they still Rabbonim. Still Rabbonim standing outside the room, and they have to hear them.
No, they're going to see. They're going to see.
No, they don't see what she.
No, they open the door a little. They have to see. It's very bitsnius. It's very bitsnius. It's mamish very bitsnius. They stand by the door. It says she's in the water. So beside it. It's not. The tachlis that's nias.
I always learned that it's a chiddush where I'm hearing now that you get schar when you have star. I always heard that I learned when you have star.
One second.
Take away you like.
One second, it came off.
That's here we're talking about when you're mitzvah to do something good. You're going out of your way to do something good, and you're mitzvah, you get a special schar.
Usually, when you do something good, you get punishment, not that.
You know what they say? When
That's
you do
cynical.
a favor, it's always like that. When you do a
That's it.
favor for
You don't get it.
mitzvah,
Yeah.
to somebody else, there's a punishment comes with it.
Yeah.
Don't expect a thank you.
Yeah.
So let's go. Let's finish off the Pirkei Avos. So now read it.
Now I understand why.
So
It's a good point.
Because
Then-
because
then
we
you
have
know,
this house,
and
we have the other
now they get special schar
So
for
now
the
I know
tzar
why this all the way out there.
because that the tzar is a
It's not
special
the
schar.
punishment that the
Special.
But this should be learned by every shliach, wife. You know, when she feels that.
There is no.
I was just in Houston, and the shliach told me a story when he went to shlichus. This is 1930. I mean, 1970. 1970.
50 years old.
Yeah. So the Rebbe had two conditions with them. Yeah, and the second condition was that there has to be chinuch hakosher. There has to be chinuch hakosher. That means that, what does it mean? The Rebbe didn't explain. It has to be kosher chinuch. Okay, they got to Houston. At that time, there was not a religious community. Today, there's from people are trying to buy a house cheaper than New York. There's a beautiful Jewish community. There's a beautiful Jewish community there.
How many shlichim there?
And there's 50 shluchim in the state.
Wow.
So, but that time there was the UGA had a school, a Jewish school. He had a Jewish school. So he sent his kids to Jewish school. When the kids go out to play, there was a rule that they have to take off the yarmulkes. They were obligated to take off the yarmulkes.
They don't necessarily start with.
So it's a problem. This doesn't sound like chinuch hakosher, right? This is kosher, not kosher.
Not kosher.
Not kosher. Okay. So he went to the school. They said, "Look, when the kids go out, there's a windy." He said, "I'm going to buy you a box of extra
Bobby pins, like I do.
Oh, and bobby pins, a box of extra yarmulkes, just in case they get lost, and a few packages of bobby pins." They had a meeting. They decided, no. Dafka, you have to take off the yarmulkes when they go to play. Okay, now he's in trouble. The Rebbe said that there has to be chinuch hakosher.
He would have to open up his own yeshiva.
Oh, so he opened his own yeshiva.
That's what it is.
So he opened his own yeshiva.
What else do you-
So he gets a call a few days later. There was a man that was on the board of directors of UJA, and whose father was at that time, one of the wealthy people, American Jews, who was also a board member of the board of directors of Yeshiva University, and also used to give annually to Rebbe Shmayo Gurari a nice amount of money every year. And the son called the father in New York to say that the Chabad Shliach came here and he's making trouble. So the Rasha called him and said, "There was a kluge yid." Okay, listen, he can't. That's the Rebbe's brother-in-law. But on the other hand, listen, the Rebbe told him chinuch hakosher, and the Rebbe said that it's Yehorig Val Yaber. I forgot to Yehorig Val Yaber. You have to have chinuch hakosher. So he called Rabbi Chadaka to ask him what to do. Rabbi Chadaka got like really angry. He says, "Who's mixing into business? This is Merkez L'Unyon Chinuch. This is nothing to do. This is the Rebbe's project. No one's allowed to mix." He says, "Oh, you know what? My answer to you is maybe try to make a friendship with that person that's complaining. I hear that he's a rich man. Maybe he'll become one of your supporters."
It's gonna be a negative.
Yeah. He said he tried. His instructions. He knows what Chadaka said. Most of the time it was instructions.
Lazarov, he's a sweet talker.
So okay, but
He's a sweet talker. He knows.
he tried. He said he tried. It's not Geholfen. The guy didn't want to meet him even. Okay, but he knows that he has to keep the yeshiva, and this guy is working against him. Wasn't Maton. He has nothing to do. Hashem Yelochem Lochem Vatem Tacharishim. He says 2 weeks later there was a scandal in town that this guy was not being loyal with his wife. He was busy with the secretary.
Oh no.
Yeah, this guy that was making trouble for
Troublemaker.
the troublemaker.
Trouble now.
He got trouble now. And a few days later he disappeared. No one ever saw him again. And wow.
Baruch Hashem.
That was his
But because he was able to keep the yeshiva.
They built up the yeshiva.
Yeah.
They built up the yeshiva.
It's a miracle.
They built up the yeshiva.
First time when he went to Houston, he drove the car.
He
drove the car, get to a gas station. I'm in Texas. No, you have another 400 miles. At the next gas station, I'm in Texas. No, another 300 miles. From New York to Texas is very, very far.
Yeah,
It's 26-hour drive about.
yeah. It's about 2,000 miles, right?
At least. So it's far that-
Who?
Finally, the last gas
What is
station
1,000 miles?
come to Houston, fill of gas. It's how far from Texas? You're in Texas. This is mine. That was his welcome 50 years ago.
This is after he got thrown away from Pennsylvania, from Sheffield.
Right.
He said it flat out. He was so. This is, by the way, this is probably the best thing ever happened to him in his
Exactly.
life. You know.
Yeah. So the sad, sometimes when you do Avodas Hashem, there is what you do, and then it's difficult. It's a lot of tzad to make it happen. Sometimes there's a lot of tzad to make it happen. But you know what? There's a special union we learn from the Geir. And there's two things. It's in Limud Torah, which is when a Geir, before he learns to, a Goy has to learn his mitzvahs. But then a Goy is not pilpul. He learns what he has to do, and that's it. There's no afarba. When there's no shakin abchayim, when he's megayer, is afarba, meir pamim v'achar, the choylaba, and then yeah, exactly.
Two things go hand in hand.
Then there's a second thing, in mitzvahs. Ben hey oimer. One is about limud Torah, one about mitzvahs. The truth is, Ben Bagbag was less of a ger than Ben Hey. He was a child of
Second
right.
generation.
And so over there he was talking about limud Torah, and Ben Hey spoke about the mitzvahs, and he said lefum tzayda agra that when you do mitzvahs, there's two parts. You go on shlichus, you do a mitzvah, you have an esoyim. There's the mitzvah and there's the tzad. and there's a special thing for the tsar. So next time you have a tsar and something, it's not easy. Next project you do, and it's not easy. There's a lot of tsar involved. Remember, lefum tzayda agra, and that's the end of Pirkei Avos. Pirkei Avos is a very important masechta, and it starts off with Moshe Kibul Torah Sinai. Mitzad the Kabbalah Torah, not mitzad the Noisim, mitzad Kabbalah Torah. There's an of schar, and especially in where there's the tsar, especially where there's that tsar, where it's difficult. That's where there's a lot of schar, where there's the tsar. So l'chaim, I'm sure every one of us had plenty points that we have tsar, and we should see that we should see the schar. And tonight we're dedicating the Farbrengen. First of all, it's the cover the Rebbetzin, and definitely that the Rebbetzin was. We say that the women of Tamil Chomim, their schar is because they're mitzayah themselves and they stay up at night. They wait for their husbands. We know that the Rebbetzin used to kipshuta, wait up, whatever it was. She was always there for her husband in a very significant way. This moral support. So l'chaim, and tonight it's being sponsored, and it's l'kovid Avi for his mother, and Avi's finishing his hashgocha yona, like I said, he's finishing to say kaddish on Chof Beis Shevat.
Wow.
So l'chaim, it's a special time because that's the time when there's an aliyah and a shama. So it's a special day. Today by mincha. That means tomorrow by mincha Avi finishes his last kaddish.
Let them say a story from his mother.
Okay, l'chaim.
What strawberry you made when you were a little kid? Remember? Sweet strawberry you make when you're a little kid.
I saw the video going around that it spoke about the Rebbetzin, like, how much.
How's she handle
With the Tzvorim, right?
Yeah, it's some, no, Bechlal.
I didn't see it.
But
You send it
he
to me.
says, like, people don't understand how much she's part of my life. For me,
It's a video that's going around.
yeah, the audio.
Send it to me if you could.
I did it. I did it. Go to a hospital to visit sick people. So she came to a room, and the lady said, "I really like chicken. That's the only thing I could eat." No problem. She went home. She made a chicken soup, and she put it in a thermostat. And she went upstairs to the room, put it on the top, make sure she's eating it. She's like, walk with her. She's happy. Then the next day, she had a driver that somebody walk in the Rebbe house. Tell him, go to the hospital to this in this room. There's a lady over there, just put the thermostat by her, and that's it, and come back home. He don't ask question about the Rebbe. So he came, he said, you misses this and this? Yeah. Well, I got a thermos over here with soup for you. Should be healthy in this. He said, who sent it? He said, Mrs. Nelson from President Street, sent it to you. Wow. He said, who's Mrs. Nelson? The Vulture wife. We didn't hear. The Vulture wife coming to me to give me soup. Wow. A couple of days later, she told him again. She makes soup. Take me to the hospital. She came upstairs. How are you feeling today? Oh, Mrs. Nelson, why didn't you tell me that the Vulture have a wife? I would, talk differently, prepare myself differently. Well, enjoy the soup and have a good day. That's it. She came out there. She came to the driver and says, who asked you to say where this would come from? Now I can make the mitzvah fully. She was so sneers and nervous that she was upset on the driver. Why do you let the person know who is the one that did it.
Right.
That's it all.
I heard that one time a Schwarz, she was a friend of Pleasant Street, and a Schwarz went to rob her. She was screaming, people came, whatever, and he left. After that, she was closing all the windows in the house in order to have a huge dog in the back of the house. And it was
they
there
had a
always,
dog?
people don't, they have a big dog, yeah.
Is this still there?
The dog is not there.
No.
There's other dogs.
Why? Why was I born to the rebels for that?
The what?
The rebels bought a dog.
Oh.
The protection.
Yeah.
Protection, yeah.
Wow. Really?
And she didn't wanna, she didn't wanna come to.
That's what they said. I didn't know that.
I don't know.
I'll talk about it.
That really, it's
Wow.
a true story.
Which one?
About the dog.
Mhm.
Dog. You ever owned the dog?
You have any idea how dangerous it was there?
Where? When was it?
What kind of dog?
In the 60 to the 70.
When they were with the riots.
There were
No,
shootings there all
no,
the back. The alley. The alley.
You grew up there.
Behind his house.
No, it's very dangerous.
You grew up in Crown Heights.
Very, very
Yes,
dangerous.
they had a dog for protection.
Yeah.
Can't you ever saw people that you ever walking a dog?
No, that ever didn't walk the dog.
More important things.
Well, it was very dangerous.
Walk the dog. What was the name of the dog?
What was the dog name?
Yeah.
The Rashag was the
Foster.
father-in-law. He lived in 770 and returned floor.
Oh, wow.
When he was getting old, he got Alzheimer's.
Gave him Cato, yeah. 91.
Hmm?
They got killed with the Rebbe's procession when they.
Oh, no.
David Cato, someone for the.
That-
They're 91.
So the Rashag was living in the third floor in 770 upstairs by himself, and he got Alzheimer's, so he needs somebody to feed him, change him, shower, and it was a big job. But his Rebbe brother-in-law. So as a bocher, they asked me to go and dinner time. There was a lady over there that cook. She left the food in the kitchen. Your job is to go to the kitchen, put it in the plate, take the Rashak from his room to his living room, put him on the chair, and put the food in front of him and make sure he's eating. Zami Gorari was paying for the lady who cooked, pay me to come to feed him. And there's another bocher that his father was working for the Rebbe all the time, Unique. Was make sure that the Rebbe has the becher from the wine for the Farbrengen, and the Rebbe had the water and the wine. It was that was like you never saw Yaki more than him. Think about it. Every Farbrengen to be next to the Rebbe and make sure there's a
From the
napkin.
beginning to the end.
There's napkin. It's a job of achrayas of time.
Yeah,
Never missed.
wow.
I heard a story last night in the Israeli radio about the Baba Sali and the Lubavitcher Rebbe. I
Told
said
it.
it this morning. to the Rabbi
Tell me
King.
again.
So I'm gonna say it again. Only 2 people heard it. It's good to hear it. They were.
One second. Let Shmulik finish the story.
You finish.
No, he didn't. He didn't.
Sorry. Sorry. Let you finish.
Wait, I gotta clean my ears to hear.
So there are please. So I'm feeding the Rashag, and the Rashag used to call to say what's going on with them. And what not. Also the Rebbitzin used to call the house. So the house with the Rashag. Usually is the other bocher when answer the phone, and he was talking to Allah because he used to go to the Rebbe house to help her in the house many things. So he was like a Ben Beis by the Rebbe. So he talked to Allah. So I pick up the phone because Rasha cannot pick up the phone. It's only me and him over there. She asked me how we doing? Did he ate supper? How we feeling today? I told her exactly what I gave him. It was potato soup. Then I was chutzpaniak and I said, who I'm talking to? I just want to know like who I'm talking to. She said, Mrs. Nelson from President said. She didn't say Davidson. I said, okay. Then I didn't know what to say after that. I didn't think, what's going to be next steps, Like you play chess, what's going on. Why am I saying it? What I'm saying.
How old you were at that time?
It's been nearly
17.
Yeah, kids. Wow.
In-house secretary?
No. I had a story with the Rashad that one day he decided it's supers. I didn't know what I understand what Alzheimer is, but I didn't really pay attention what is. So the Rashad told me Who is my lulav and esrog? It's middle of the day, middle of the week. No tishrei, no nothing. I said today is not. It's not sukkahs. No, give me my lulav and esrog. I want to go bench. One time, start getting nervous, start getting like shaky. So I said, you know what? I'll take you downstairs. You see the bochum morning. There's no Farbrengen, there's no sukkahs, nothing. No, you lied to me. Give me my lulav and esrog. I said, trust me, no. Okay. Put him on with his coat. You ready? Okay. Take him to the elevator downstairs. Start walking with him to downstairs. Old bochum looking while I'm holding his hand and walking with him downstairs. And he is looking. I get almost the middle of 770. He look at me, smile. He said, take me upstairs.
Wow.
I told Dr. Feldman what happened. He said, he has Alzheimer's. I said, well, what does it mean? It's okay. Dr. Feldman used to call also, and he used to take care of him. There's a certain pill you have to give him, when you eat, and drink. What?
Beautiful.
It's very hard to work with a person who has Alzheimer's. Never, you should not know.
That is not there.
But the Rebbitzin would care about him. That's the point.
No.
And that was the time. That was the time that with the books, that they took the books. Nevertheless, she cared.
A lot of years, the Baba Sali was writing to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe used to write back. So once a guy very sick came to Baba Sali, tell him he's very sick, and give me a bracha. Baba Sali told him, you have to go to 770. Only the Lubavitcher Rebbe can give you a bracha. So the guy the next day got the ticket. I think it was in the 17, 18. You go into 770, waiting in line with the dollar. When he got to the dollar, to the Rebbe, he told the Rebbe, the Baba Sali sent me that you give me a bracha. So I gave him a bracha, the Rebbe, and they give him $1. The guy continued going, we call him back. Give him another $1. Another $1. Gave him $16. It's okay. You're going back to Israel, going to Baba Sali. You tell him the story. I went to the Lubavitcher Rebbe and he gave me $16. He told him he gave you life. The guy lived 16 more years. And who said the story? The son of this guy. He got married. He had 2 boys. He said, after 16 years, he died, and this boy grew up. So they said the story
About the father.
about the father that went to get 16, and he lived exactly 16 years, like the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Gave him $, $16.
Wow.
Unbelievable. You think somewhere that they were writing to each other?
If it was one for bringing, the Rebbe says that you have to drink the L'chaim so much till the cup would be upside down. And the Rebbe went with his becher like this. So everybody in 70 take the cup, drink it, and went like this. Later on, the bocher that worked for the Rebbe's house told the story what happened in 70 for bringing. So why don't she pick up the cup in the kitchen like that?
You want us to do that tonight?
If
your cup's empty, you can do it.
Full.
Yeah.
Still a few days for shit left to Shevat, Shavishan is Basta, Besoidus Toivus, and through this Besoidus Toivus, which are 9 tanzen to Adar, which will be full of Simcha. Simcha will jump in and it's a Mismach Gula Gula, please, Mashiach Tzakei.
Right. Shama should have an aliyah.
Sometimes